How much time do you actually spend with yourself, by yourself, outside, and in weather such as what I'm experiencing today, a rainy day in the wintertime? Seriously, when's the last time you went outside and just enjoyed outside? And the irony here is like, yeah, well, you're just making a video while doing this. And that is true. But it's not like I just came down here and made the video. Like, I'm going to spend time outside listening to, I don't know if you can hear it with this mic, but I can hear the highway, which is the better part of a mile away. I can hear all the traffic, but I'm still in the middle of a park. And I'm in this shelter, but I'm in this park that's just, like a 6-minute walk from my house. I love it. Come down here a lot, probably a couple days a week. And coming down here regularly is kind of a new thing for me. In the summer, when it's nice, I do like to drive out to the Montour Trail, and I take my bike out there, and I'm out there for anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours. But I just discovered, I'm sure it's a bit of a steep hill, not the worst. It's beautiful exercise, but to get here, again, less than 10 minutes, and I'm in this park. Got a basketball court. It's got all kinds of playground areas for kids. There's a little creek, down past these woods that I'm sitting next to. But honestly, people come out, but in weather like this, it's usually just me. If it wasn't raining, there'd probably be someone running or walking their dog. There's usually people walking the dog. The town park, the pool is not too far away either. But yeah, I just, for me, the rain, I don't know if it's in my genes from being the other side of the pond, right? I kind of like gloomy weather. I love the sound of rain. And so, I left my house after eating lunch and I finalized the track for the project I'm working on, this instrumental project. And right now I'm just feeling good because I know I'm in a process. I'm in a zone where I'm just finishing these tracks and not overthinking the tracks. I'm saying this is done. I'm mixing it to some extent and being happy with the mix and saying this is done. Now I might come back to it later on when the project is full and when I listen to everything cohesively and I decide, this doesn't have enough high end, whatever I hear or feel with a fresh perspective after not, listening to the track for weeks or months. But I'm just finishing stuff. I'm finishing music and moving to the next, right? Getting out of the what others kind of refer to as like the sandbox for musicians and creative. I'm sure this applies to other creative things, but like for music, the sandbox is where, as a beat maker, you've got a loop, and you like it, and you save it, and then you move on to the next thing. And then a month later, you're just listening to 4 or 5 different loops, and never accomplishing anything. And I'm getting out of that. I'm getting out of that routine, and it feels really good. It feels really good. Plus, I got a couple weeks of free time, so to speak. Some time off from work, so nothing is going to stop what I'm doing. I'm just checking the time on here. Yeah, I'm using a new camera app because I have not a new microphone, but I bought a microphone for my phone. The problem was, it did not fit into the USB-C slot when I have a cover on my phone. And so I have an adapter for that. And then the next issue was, okay, how do I know that the mic is being used? So I've discovered that the camera app on my phone does not let you change from the built-in mic to an external mic. So I had to use a different app, and so I'm using that now. And I honestly don't know how much time has passed, but who cares? It's another thing I thought about. I started walking down here, and I was like, I thought for a second, what time is it? And I thought, why am I doing this? It's just like a work day where you're thinking about what time is it, how much time has passed from the time you left to the time you get down here to the time you get back to your house. I don't care. I'm trying to spend that day and more of my days like that, where I'm not thinking about time. Which is ironic, given so much of this sort of abstract vlog entry is about just finishing things in a way for the sake of time. Too much time is spent constantly going back and forth on a track, and whether it's done or not, I've spent way too much time on that, and I'm trying to utilize time and finish things on a more regular basis. And so that brings me to the next thing I kind of want to talk about. And maybe there's a place where I could go into even more detail on this and have it as a separate entry, but we are absolutely in a completely swamped, submerged, saturated landscape of content. Not just music, but content, period. But as it relates to what so much of this vlog is about, right? I read an article recently that said in 1989, or I should start this way. In one day in 2024, the year we're wrapping up, there was more music put out that day than all of the year in 1989. So it's interesting when I see some people I like to watch on YouTube have conversations about making a lot of music, making a ton of albums in a couple years. And personally, I like the approach. I like the idea of making a lot of music. I think half the battle that people are going through when it comes to making music is when it comes to the creative process, they're all wrapped up in the critical aspect of creation, which is really something that should be at the end. And by critical, I mean like the critique. The critique should be at the end, because if you're critiquing everything that you're doing in the process, then what you're going to end up doing is nothing at all, or very few things very slowly. So yeah, I'm all for the philosophy that you want to just create and limit your critiques, limit your judgments about a melody you did, limit your judgments about a decision you made, and save those critiques for when you have a project that you want to put out. What I'm against, or what I don't desire to do myself, is put everything out that I make. That's what I have no interest in doing, and that's what I personally don't want to see others do, just from the sheer reality that there's just so much music. And what I'm really digging right now is I come across a lot of artists that are putting out EPs, and these are EPs that might, from just the on their face, the number of tracks being anywhere between 8 and 10, might come off as like, well, this is like an album. But in reality, it's a collection of music, or a project that's, in a lot of cases under 20 minutes long. And I really think that's an interesting direction, because one, it's inspiring to see that, because when you see that as a musician, as an artist, as a listener, if you're thinking about it, you can think about approaching your own project that way, and it is so much more approachable than saying you're going to put out a 20-track album or even a 15-track album that runs for 45 minutes long. I just love that because, we have a lot of ideas. I know I do. And I want to start something new, and there we go again with, got to finish before you start on another track. But when you do this, you can say to yourself, I'm going to work on an EP. And in the interest of getting it done and putting music out on a regular basis, but good quality music, I'm going to work on that EP and have it finished within 6 months. And by the end of it, I'm going to have 4 or 5, maybe 6 tracks, although that might be pushing it for some. But definitely 4 or 5 tracks, good EP length. And by doing that, you got at least one a year. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still on this idea that I want to do a full length. I've had in my mind the idea of working on 2 or 3 EPs, putting them all out separately, and then at the end you kind of put out a full-length project, maybe with, I did a video yesterday about mixing your own music, but let's say you did mix all your own music, but then you had a track or 2 that was mixed by somebody else that you paid for and had it done. They have a new arrangement on it, new take on it aesthetically, and maybe you do put some different arrangements on it. Maybe you add an additional instrument. Just make it a different track. And that also goes on the full-length project. Maybe, 90% of all the songs from your EP go on this project, and there's like 1 or 2 that are new, or 4 just the final. I love that approach. Again, it's sort of like this piecemeal approach to creation, to project creation and finishing things. So, I guess that's my rant. Kind of was a little all over the place, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enjoy this rain. And hey, thanks for watching.